Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to Vampire Clan in ClanGen, the Warrior Cats clan generated game. When we left off in the previous episode, we had a nice introduction to our clan and all of our characters, and I said that I would play off camera for a little bit until we had a pregnancy notice, so we can come back, to some clan growth, some exciting things like kittens. Now, I do have some notes about what happened while we were away, so I'm going to give you guys a quick recap before we dive into this moon's events. Okay, so when we left off, it was Moon 0. On Moon 1, Grandmaster Shivering Star fell from a cliff and somehow survived, though not without breaking his leg. Honeybloom became friends with Grandmaster Shivering Star. Now, Honeybloom, as a reminder, is our Nightstalker and also the cat, she was our Nightstalker, and also the cat who was matched with the Grandmaster. Let's see. And then, this was actually quite fascinating, but a vampire hunter apprentice named Crowpaw joined Initiate Clan. So we went out on patrols, and one of these vampire hunter apprentices, they desperately wanted to leave the hunting clans that they were a part of, and they wanted to become like us. They wanted to join Vampire Clan, but obviously we don't take in vampires just like that. So we allowed him to join Initiate Clan. So yeah, that has started growing the initiates outside of our ruins, which is quite exciting. On Moon 2, Quiet Paw became a Mistwalker. She was granted the name Quiet Flight along with the title of the Quiet Princess. So you'll probably notice down by the Warrior's Den, near Blue Jay I think, and Twilight Fade, we have Quiet Flight, who is aged up into a young adult now. So we'll definitely have to take a look at that. Let's see, on Moon 3, Light Kid became a fledgling, earning the name Lightpaw, and was apprenticed to Hazelpelt. So, by the Leader's Den, next to actually Honeybloom and Grandmaster Shivering Star, you'll see that our little Light Kid is now an apprentice, who still looks very, very pretty, but that was kind of fun. Let's see, and then a cat named Endless Heart joined Initiate Clan. So I think right now we actually have 2 initiates, which we'll probably take a quick scan at as well. And then on Moon 4, Cottonshade, Master Cottonshade, retired from the position of Master. So then Honeybloom was promoted to Master, Burnleaf was promoted to Nightstalker, and Hazelpelt entered the Inner Circle as a Whisper, which meant that Hazelpelt couldn't continue mentoring Lightpaw, so Twilight Fade became Lightpaw's new mentor. And it is now Moon 5, so that's where we are picking up. And I definitely want to take a look at the changes with the cats. So first up, of course, we do have Quiet Flight, who has maintained her charismatic personality, and she is a good climber. Now, if we look over here, it says she was mentored by Twilight Fade. Twilight Fade influenced her to be more likely to behave erratically and refrain from socializing. Twilight Fade helped her become better at climbing. When she graduated, she was honored for her wit. And I've also put down that she was the only fledgling in her batch and graduated as the Quiet Princess. So she is considered an elite among vampires. Now, Twilight Fade, he was the grumpy mentor that she had, and I suppose he maybe was the type of cat that taught Quiet Flight to be unexpected, because I feel like he's not someone who very much liked engaging with other cats, and didn't feel the need to react in a way that other cats expected, and that goes into refraining from socializing. I don't know if you guys remember, but I think it was Pumpkin Tail who we said probably kept walking around him and chatting to him, and then, whenever he let out a huff, she took that as engagement and absolutely dived into another topic. But yeah, I think Twilight Fade would have passed these things onto Quiet Flight, basically saying, this is why we don't talk to people. Or this is why we don't talk to other cats, because they talk too much. So that's Quiet Flight. And then we have Lightpaw over here, who is childish with an active imagination. Now, she was, I think, an attention seeker when she was younger. She is a little bit sore, I think, from bounding around a little bit as an apprentice and maybe falling from somewhere. But she now has the grumpy mentor, and I feel I feel good for the apprentices. I feel like they're getting a well-rounded sort of guiding Mistwalker, but for Twilight Fade himself, I feel a little bit bad for him. He's such a snappy cat, and yet he keeps getting paired up. The Grandmaster keeps pairing him up with all of these like super chatty, childish, playful cats. Like basically, balls of absolute energy he keeps getting piled on with. But Lightpaw, obviously, she doesn't have anything she's learnt just yet, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But I'm excited to see the difference between how Lightpaw is influenced versus Quiet Flight. So that's what we have for the changes with the cats. Let's go ahead and go to, I want to go to the leader's den first of all, because we need to actually check up on our status with the other hunting clans. So yeah, guys, we're hostile. We have 3 vampire hunting clans actively hunting us under Grandmaster Shivering Star, like actively hunting us. And now Honeybloom, who was Nightstalker obviously, is the master. So it's actually Master Honeybloom, I should be saying. So yeah, we have Master Honeybloom, but we have 3 hunting clans that are actively trying to pursue us, which is terrifying. But that's where we're at. Oh, and the initiates. So these are the 2 initiates that we managed to find. Crowpaw, who is actually a vampire hunting apprentice, and then Endless Heart. But these 2, they've been relegated to the area outside the ruins and around the ruins. Only the vampires are allowed within the ruins. So they're going to be essentially sticking close to the vampires, serving the vampires in the background, and trying to earn a place, within our actual camp. So there is that. Okay, let's go ahead, dive straight to events. Like I said, it is Moon 5, and you know what? I feel like the game decided to hold the most exciting things for when you guys came back. Because rising tensions have finally come to a breaking point. A war against Gossamer clan has been declared. That's right, one of the vampire hunting clans have actively started a war with us, which means they are aggressively going to be trying to invade our territory and attack our cats and kill our vampires, which is terrifying, but also I feel like very suiting to our story and, the situation in which we started Vampire Clan. And then Twilight Fade has a heat stroke, which I'm worried about because heat strokes are very dangerous and can result in cats dying, so hopefully he feels a little bit better soon. And then Master Honeybloom announced that she's expecting kids. She's still full of energy, and moving to the nursery would feel stifling, and maybe next moon. I'm seriously hoping that nothing happens to Honeybloom, because we have seen in previous videos pregnant cats pass away, and I definitely don't want that for her. And then heightened battle training has left Lightpaw, Sore, and Tired. There we go. Okay, so she didn't fall from anywhere. It was just from battle training. Yeah, the war is going to be, our war with the hunting clans is going to be very hard for the youngsters. And then the excitement continues. I am so glad that in the last episode, I actually took a look at the relationships, and we did establish that Pumpkintail likes Twilight Fade and keeps following him around, because otherwise I don't think this notice would have hit as hard. Pumpkintail confessed to Twilight Fade. Everyone tiptoes around her, not wanting to disturb her, as Pumpkintail processes the rejection. Oh my goodness. I think what happened is that Twilight Fade got a heat stroke. He was not feeling too good. He already has a childish fledgling that he has to look after, and then Pumpkintail, maybe thinking this was a great time, just confessed to Twilight Fade, but it was like more annoyance on top of the annoyances he was already going through, and he straight up rejected her. So I don't know how Pumpkintail is going to take this. I feel a little bit bad that she was shut down so quick, but this is so in character for Twilight Fade. And then Quiet Flight's soreness is gone. So that's what we have for the big events with our cats. And we might actually, if we look at relationships, be able to get a better timeline as to when and how she confessed and got rejected and what happened afterwards. But okay, let's check out our Nightstalkers den. So, oh yeah, so Shivering Star, Grandmaster Shivering Star, he still has the broken bone from when he fell off a cliff, but he does have 9 lives, so hopefully he's going to be okay. And then Twilight Fade has the heat stroke. Okay, Shivering Star was given Ragwort as treatment for broken bone. And then Quiet Flight's soreness went away. Burnleaf gathered wild garlic, rosemary, and poppy this moon. So that's what we have. Okay, let's check out relationships and see what's going on this front. Blue Jay talks with Quiet Flight about some clan drama. Okay, the clan drama most definitely is a rejection. Most definitely. Quiet Flight stepped on Burnleaf's paw and pretended not to notice. Though Burnleaf has been unhappy with Quiet Flight, Burnleaf helps her with something. Twilight Fade walks by Hazelpelt, mumbling something about a clanmate with a sour expression. I bet you he was mumbling something about Pumpkin Tail. Okay, Twilight Fade got a bunch of cats up for morning stretches, they didn't like it. Blue Jay makes a snide remark about one of Twilight Fade's friends. Shivering Star, Grandmaster Shivering Star, thinks Quiet Flight was nice to him today. Grandmaster Shivering Star started a huge argument between Blue Jay and Pumpkin Tail. Oh no. I mean, Blue Jay was talking about the breakup with Quiet Flight, so maybe Shivering Star, the Grandmaster, overheard that. And then, even though because Quiet Flight's been nice to him, he was like, okay, I won't involve Quiet Flight in the argument, even though Quiet Flight was gossiping with Blue Jay. I'll just throw Blue Jay under the bus and, bring Pumpkin Tail into it and make her think that Blue Jay was talking crap about her. I feel like Shivering Star, maybe as a way to keep the vampires under control and united in his leadership, and not disagree with him, probably would cause fights within the vampires themselves so that they, have issues with each other, but they all kind of turn to him. I don't know, I kind of feel like Shivering Star would do stuff like that. Keep the vampires on edge, Twilight Fade won't give up a warm, sunny spot for Grandmaster Shivering Star, not even for a minute. Lightpaw and Pumpkin Tail keep trying to figure out what a bad smell in camp is. Honeybloom, Master Honeybloom, and Grandmaster Shivering Star have to break up a fight between their clanmates. I bet you it was the fight he started. It was the fight he started, and then it probably continued, or it picked back up later on, and then he and Honeybloom stepped in to break them up and be leaders. Just like I said, they want the cats to fight, or he wants the cats to fight within themselves to keep the vampires on edge, but he wants them to listen to him. A clanmate that Honeybloom wanted to get to know better is already friends with Blue Jay. Cotton Shade, who's now retired. Cotton Shade didn't expect Hazelpelt to be so amicable today. Cotton Shade prevents something from falling on Hazelpelt. Okay, so they're spending more time together. Twilight Fade says something vulnerable to Pumpkin Tail. I wonder if Twilight Fade, he's always grumpy, but maybe he noticed that, he felt bad for Pumpkin Tail for getting into the fights with Blue Jay and everything. And then he was maybe feeling a little bit guilty about the way that she feels and maybe he's being treated, so he kind of just told her that he's not feeling really good after the stroke. Maybe that's what he allowed her to see some of his vulnerability so that she would feel less terrible about herself and, the fights and such. Pumpkin Tail claimed to catch the prey that Lightpaw caught on their patrol. And then, okay. Hold on. Back up. I had my timeline wrong. So apparently she confessed to him after this point, which means, you know what, we can still keep the story we have, except we'll have to swap out the clan drama they were talking about, swap that out with maybe everyone knowing that Pumpkintail has a crush on Twilight Fade. Maybe that's what we have to switch out, because at this point the rejection hasn't happened. So I think these cats are maybe gossiping about the fact that Pumpkintail has a crush on Twilight Fade, but Twilight Fade finds her annoying. And then everything still works. Everything still works. With Twilight mumbling with a sour expression to Hazelpelt, probably about Pumpkintail being annoying, and then Shivering Star causing a fight between Bluejay and Pumpkintail, saying that Bluejay is talking smack about you. And then maybe Twilight Fade trying to, comfort Pumpkintail, but Pumpkintail misunderstanding that as interest from Twilight Fade, and then her deciding to confess to him, and Twilight Fade very quickly shutting that down. Okay, I get it now. Quiet Flight saw Hazelpelt the other day and did get a chance to meow hello. Quiet Flight would spend the entire day with Bluejay if she could. These two were gossiping earlier on, and even though Bluejay got into a fight, I suppose they're still hanging out and they still enjoy each other's company, or Quiet Flight does. Lightpaw respects Hazelpelt's opinion despite disagreeing with it. Hazelpelt was Lightpaw's mentor initially, but then obviously after we had the promotions and Hazelpelt entered the inner circle, then Lightpaw was transferred over to Twilight Fade. And then let's see, Hazelpelt asks Quiet Flight if his fur looks clean. And that's what we have for events, but very, very eventful and very dramatic. Okay, let me cut the recording here and continue with the cat list. Okay, time for us to continue with the cat list. So first up, we have loyalties, and there has been a few changes. So, with the new loyalties that we have, Burnleaf, Hazelpelt, and Cottonshade have actually decided to become anti-loyalists. So Shivering Star started off really strong, and slowly some of the cats have started losing faith in him. I think what's happened is that these particular cats maybe thought it was a good idea to sabotage the hunting clans until the hunting clans, or at least one of them, declared war on them, and now they're really worried about how new and small Vampire Clan is, and that they will be welcoming in kittens soon. Can they protect these young ones? And I think their faith maybe in Shivering Star's vision is faltering a little bit. What's the point of prodding the vampire hunters when our numbers are not that big to begin with? We should be focused on survival, and I think that's what did it for them. So that aside, we obviously don't have any whispering to do because we do not have a match right now that we need to work on, since we already have Honeybloom, who is expecting kittens and will be having her kittens in I think 2 episodes time. So let's go ahead and check out relationships, because there have been some things that I have noted, and I think it'll be good to see how that has progressed over the last 5 moons. So start off with Shivering Star. Now Shivering Star, he has managed to become friends with Burnleaf, so there is that. Now with Honeybloom, he still views this as a formal match. He hasn't really befriended her. I think he's very much keeping her at arm's length. This is obviously to progress their bloodline, their 2 founding bloodlines. I think it's going to be the 1st and the 3rd. She's got the 3rd bloodline. So this is all, without really any sort of major feelings attached, at least from the Grandmaster's point of view. Okay, and then here we go. Honeybloom, meanwhile, has actually befriended the Grandmaster. It's unfortunate that he doesn't feel the same way, but despite the fact that she is a cold cat, she has managed to befriend him, and she is still faithfully believing in his vision. I think even more so now that she is a master herself, working alongside Shivering Star, despite the fact that their kittens are going to be born in a time of war. But Honeybloom's not too worried about that so much. She has faith that Shivering Star will guide them well and true. But she hasn't really befriended anyone else. She's been keeping her distance from the other cats. She's been mainly focused on the Grandmaster and his vision. Okay, what else do we have? But she, actually, hold on. She had some romance game. she had romance gain for Shivering Star as well. And if we go through the history, I mean, we know they had to break up a fight recently, but before that, Honeybloom couldn't believe how talented Shivering Star was. So whenever she looks at the Grand Master, I think she is so, like, taken up by his excitement for sabotaging the vampire hunters, getting back at them in a way that there's this wave she's kind of swept in, you know, when it comes to believing him and wanting to befriend him and wanting to do something for him. So if anything, I think she feels very honored by the fact that she's going to have Vampire Clan's very first litter, and that the litter is going to be with Shivering Star. Okay, and then we have Burnleaf over here, who has not managed to make any friends himself, even with Shivering Star. In fact, he's one of the anti-loyalists, but no, Shivering Star really likes Burnleaf, really considers Burnleaf a good friend, which I think is pretty fascinating and funny. Okay, and then with Hazelpelt over here, he's managed to actually make a friend in Lightpaw, and I thought that was really cute because Hazelpelt and Lightpaw, they were mentor and fledgling. Jeez, I need to get used to the terminology. They were mentor and fledgling for not that long before Hazelpelt, like probably a moon or two before Hazelpelt entered the inner circle, and then Lightpaw had to switch to Twilight Fade. But it's good to see that they did initially get along so well that they managed to build a friendship and strong connection. That's it for him. No romances. A lot of these other cats, actually, that we're seeing, they don't really have many other romances. Twilight Fade. Similar thing with Twilight Fade and Quiet Flight. Even though Quiet Flight used to talk his ear off, it's kind of cute to see that eventually he did manage to become friends with Quiet Flight, and she grew on him, which I think is very sweet. And his tolerance for her and all of her chatting grew a lot more. So we've got that. He doesn't have any romances with any of the cats, nor does he have friendships, which I think is pretty on brand for him because he's not the type of cat that very much likes to engage with others. Even with Lightpaw, it might take some time for them to develop any sort of friendship, but I'll be curious to see whether or not he gets along with Lightpaw the same way he did with Quiet Flight. Pumpkintail, meanwhile, her romance for Twilight Fade is still there. Like, his rejection, maybe it's because she's shameless, but his rejection of her has not diminished her feelings in any way, shape, or form. And if we look at the history, before the whole vulnerable thing, it does say that Pumpkintail greeted Twilight Fade as he exited the warrior's den. So this, in my mind, kind of reinforces this image of Pumpkintail constantly just finding any and every excuse to talk to Twilight Fade and bumping into him in the most unexpected places, deliberately, you know, saying, oh, it's a coincidence, what a coincidence, and then chatting with him, when Twilight Fade probably knows it's not a coincidence. But I found it really, really funny that she's friends with Twilight Fade and Quiet Flight, probably because, you know, she was following Twilight Fade around, and since he was mentoring Quiet Flight at the time, she obviously was spending a lot of time with Quiet Flight as well. So she ended up becoming friends with both of them, since she was around them all the time. So I thought that was very, very funny and interesting. So we have Blue Jay, who hasn't managed to make any friends yet, or have any romances. But then Quiet Flight, I think we noticed this in events, she actually has developed quite a bit of a crush on Blue Jay. So we know that she and Blue Jay were gossiping earlier today during events, and later on, she kind of felt as though she really likes spending time around Blue Jay. She wishes she could spend the entire day with Blue Jay. I think she just admires Blue Jay so much, and Blue Jay is a charismatic cat just like Quiet Flight. So maybe finally having someone who is like her instead of against the grain like Twilight Fade is probably very, you know, it's fascinating. It's something that she likes. It's an environment, an atmosphere she wants to be in. So that's what we have for Quiet Flight. And then Lightpaw hasn't managed to make any friends just yet. Cotton Shade has managed to befriend Hazelpelt, but he doesn't have any romances with anyone. And that's pretty much all we have for the relationships of the cats. So let's go ahead and see what everyone is up to for the day. Grandmaster Shivering Star wants to work hard to impress Honeybloom, Master Honeybloom. Okay. So we were kind of saying that he hasn't really befriended her, nor has he, I think, put too much effort into his romantic feelings for her, because he still views it as a formal match. But I wonder if Shivering Star likes the fact that Master Honeybloom admires him so much, and he wants to kind of take advantage of that and ensure that she continues to admire him. She continues to see him as a role model, maybe because it goes into his idea of, controlling the other vampiric cats, keeping them kind of in competition with one another, or like rivals with one another, but turning to him. Maybe that all starts with the way his master and his match Honeybloom views him. Master Honeybloom, can't believe she overslept today. Burnleaf wonders what Lightpaw is up to. Hazelpelt is wondering if he made the right decision in becoming a whisper and entering politics. I wonder if he's a bit worried about his former apprentice Lightpaw, and they were such good friends, and he doesn't know whether or not Twilight Fade is going to be like a good enough mentor for Lightpaw, or if Lightpaw is going to be able to adjust to him, and is wondering whether or not he should have entered politics or entered the inner circle or not. It's like his duty to the clan versus his duty to Lightpaw. Twilight Fade saw a two-leg petting a loner. Pumpkin Tail is stretching out. I love that she's shaking off the rejection as if nothing happened. Blue Jay is feeling quite lazy. Quiet Flight is playing a prank on Grandmaster Shivering Star. Lightpaw can't get anything done with this heat. And Cotton Shade goes on yet another walk alone just outside camp. So that's all we have for the cat list. Let me cut the recording here and we'll continue with patrols. Let's continue with our patrols. We currently have 81 prey and we only need 26, so we don't have to worry about food. We're going to send our Nightstalker, Burnleaf, our new Nightstalker, out first to see what he can get up to. Let's have a look. More marigold would be useful, particularly with Greenleaf in full swing. This season will bring the marigold to bloom, and the flowers are just as useful as the leaves to Burnleaf, and extremely easy to spot from a distance. Proceed. It stops infection, bleeding, and sore joints. Why would any medicine cat ever want to risk running out of it? Burnleaf brings back as much marigold as he can stuff into his mouth, and somehow manages to fit in a little tansy too. So Tansy and Marigold were gathered, and now we're going to have our patrol of 5. So I'll send out Lightpaw, whose mentor is not going to be here with her since he does have the stroke. So she's just going to have to hang out with the other cats and observe them. So the onus of learning is going to be on her, since nobody's actively going to be supervising because we don't have another active mentor right now. And then we'll have Quiet Flight, Blue Jay, Pumpkin Tail, and Master Honeybloom. So let's see what they get up to. As the patrol gathers together to train under Master Honeybloom's leadership, Blue Jay admits she thinks she had a vision from Star Clan last night. Proceed. No one can make sense of the vision. Okay, so that didn't end up being such a productive patrol, but I think the clan has had kind of enough drama within this moon that everyone was probably a little bit distracted when they went out, even if it was a conversation about Star Clan, with the gossip and the things happening, the rejection, the confession, the pregnancy. I don't think anyone would have had the mind to really focus on what Star Clan is saying. But okay guys, with that said and done, I am gonna leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.